Turin, Italy, and let's get right into it. I'm playing around with OBS, so currently, yeah, obviously there's going to be some mistakes, but I gotta do this somehow, and I gotta break into the chapter in this podcast, like the streaming chapter. Okay, finally getting into it. I know I'm way behind, but hey, what are you going to do? I'll do some trial and error, but we'll get there. Now, want to get right into it. I was very happy to see the presence, the engagement for the predictions. The video that I did the night before got about 560 views. It was only about a 15 minute video, and it generated several hours of viewing. That's something to be said. With no Google ads, no BS, none of that. I'm feeling pretty good about it. So I really appreciate those of you that are close to me to maybe, if you get a chance to check it out, if you know anything a little more about OBS and you want to give me some tips. At some point I'll get Jonathan on here. We'll do a review together. It just got to a point where I needed to kind of break away from Riverside, because Riverside FM it's not cheap, and it doesn't really work that well for streaming. I mean, I hate to break it. I'm not trying to put them on the spot. I think as far as everything else goes, in terms of their quality of the recordings, their editing techniques, it's great. But yeah, not so much. All right, let's break into this. I want to get into this review, okay? Clash in Italy was, I thought, at least a B+ PLE, okay? Is there room for improvement? Absolutely. But there was a lot of good things that they did right, and nobody can deny that. So let's get right into it. I took a lot of notes for this show, and we're going to get into it. The order of the card kind of confused me, but then it all started to make sense once I learned about ESPN hosting that hour in the middle of the actual program, okay? And then I was like, okay, this is why Oba and Lesnar will be coming on at match 3. And I'm really tired of WWE, catering to the ESPN audience. It's pissing me off. Actually, no, it's not. I really could care less. The program flowed well, so it was all right. Now, the WWE Championship match, I thought was okay, considering what they're trying to get into. Well, could it have been a little bit longer? That seems to be the consensus. Obviously, it could have been longer. Gunther and Cody could have taken this thing easily 20 to 25 minutes. And they should have at least taken it to about 17 minutes, right along the lines of where Rhea and Jade took it, which we'll talk about. But as far as the pacing of the match, as far as what they did for the approximately, 12 minutes that they did put on, it was okay. Okay. It was hard hitting, fast pace, and the finish, yeah, it tells us where they're going with this. All right. And if you think Gunther is not going to be in another program with Cody, you are sorely mistaken. As far as CM Punk goes and where he fits into all this, I know a lot of us are thinking it's going to be Cody and Punk at SummerSlam. I'll put it this way. If it's not Gunther and Cody at SummerSlam, it's going to be Gunther and Cody at Night of Champions. And I would not be surprised if he takes the title. And here's why. Because Punk and Cody, they don't necessarily even need a championship, all right, to have that match that everybody's looking to see at some point. It is a marquee match with or without a title, okay? I do not see how they remove Gunther from this equation. If they do that, they've messed up, okay? So another option to see at SummerSlam, which I would not be completely against, is a Punk Cody Gunther match. Okay, that is the option I was thinking about. But this this pay-per-view, this match definitely left me interested in what's coming next. And it's subjective. If you don't agree, don't know what to tell you, man. Don't know what to tell you. The Jade Cargill Rhea Ripley match, I enjoyed. I thought it was better than the WrestleMania match. And I'll tell you why. There were a few spots I thought that were amazing. Yes. Was there a botch point that was botched with the, I guess, pinfall where B-Fab was supposed to put the foot, take Jade's foot and put it on the rope? Okay. Yeah. It's not great. But everything else was pretty damn good. 17-minute match, not bad. Jade and Rhea, they work well together. You cannot deny that. So we'll get into that one more. And then we talk about Brock Lesnar and Oba Femi. I liked this one even more than WrestleMania. I told you guys that Brock was going to win, and it's not that hard. It wasn't that hard to figure out. They're taking this thing into a trilogy. We're going to see it, I think, at SummerSlam. It will be a headlining match. It very well, most likely, will be the last match of Lesnar. In case you didn't know, he started his real wrestling, his professional wrestling career, I guess you could say, his amateur college wrestling career, two-time national championships, all under the moniker of the Gophers, okay? University of Minnesota. This is where it all started. So it makes complete sense that he ends it in Minnesota, okay? And that's what's going to happen. As far as I know, his contract ends after SummerSlam, and that's what's going to happen. So we're going to see this trilogy come to a close then. But this match was a lot of fun. I liked certain spots. It was a standard Brock Lesnar length match, but they took it a little bit further and did a little bit more, and I really appreciate that. There are a couple things I want to criticize about it. I'll get into it during the details, but otherwise it was an excellent match. Then you have the Ruca versus Becky Lynch match, which was the match that I thought most likely where titles would change hands. However, I wasn't really thinking it was going to make the most sense that it was going to happen. And however, I knew that they were trying to give us some sort of shock with a title change. And this was the one they were going to do. And that's fine. I told you again that either it would be Cody and Gunther or Sol, Ruca, and Becky. And they went with the safe bet. That's what they did. They went with the safe bet. They didn't pull the trigger on Gunther. They could have. I would have been happy with that, but they didn't do that. So, yeah, this is what happened. And then Roman Reigns versus Jacob Fatu. Told you that Reigns wasn't going to drop the title. He pretty much put Fatu in his place. It was an excellent match. Slow to start. And I almost feel like the wind was taken out of the sails of the audience by this point. They were still into it though, and they definitely built it back up towards the second half of this match. Went the distance. So overall, it was a great event. Every single match was at least a B-level match. Now, a couple things. They could have added a third match, and a third match. They should have added a sixth match, I would say. These PLEs could definitely start going, 6 matches, okay? And I think that I'm checking my audio, making sure it's good, but I think that they, they're giving them the time, and that's great, minus the Gunther and Cody match, but with all the commercials and all the breaks, there's room for one more match. All right. A Saturday night's main event, that could go 5 matches. That's perfect. Okay. I did watch the Saturday night's main event. I thought it was excellent as well, for what it's trying to produce. These are monthly events, like bi-monthly events at that. Okay. They are not SummerSlams. They're not Survivor Series. They're not Royal Rumbles or WrestleManias. Okay. They're not even Night of Champions. They're just like in your houses. And in your house, I would say they do what needs to be done. But yes, for what it's worth, it was a stacked 5-match card, and they delivered. All right. There were a few surprises, a few directions I didn't think they were going to go, but yeah. So let's get into it. Before we do, if you haven't done so already, hit that like or subscribe button. You can join us at Instagram and X at Channel Cortez 33. We are moving along with this channel. I do plan to do a review of Monday Night Raw, which hopefully airs at a reasonable time for me here in Germany. But I most likely will not do the review till the following day. I am aiming to be the curtain call of reviews here, okay? The last kind of bastion of criticism on WWE content. And at some point, yes, maybe we'll get into AEW. I know they're starting to pick things up. They've been doing really well with their pay-per-views and their main shows. And a lot of good things going on there. My boy Jonathan at Bad Guy Wrestling, I know he's keeping up with it better than me. And at one point we will join up once again. So, but let's keep this ball rolling. So, the first match, surprisingly, was the Undisputed WWE Championship match between Gunther and Cody Rhodes. Now, the fans, this is now, if I don't do it at least 3 or 4 times, I won't do it justice. The Italian fans were excellent. One of the best group of fans. And Cole and Graves, they were pointing out that these fans were starving for WWE entertainment, for WWE PLE. And it shows. They gave the performers all the attention and engagement that was needed. When Gunther came out to his music, the music that I am so glad WWE brought back, they started doing the singing to it, the humming to it, however you will. There's no lyrics to the song, but you can basically hum to it. You're like, yes. Oh yeah, I can do that. I could probably hit up the opera one day. But anyway, and but yeah, no, I digress. Gunther's fans yelling the notes to this song, all right? Cheering Gunther. The potential for Gunther to win this title, the WWE title was there. But out of nowhere, when the finish happened and we'll talk about Cody. I guess it just wasn't meant to be, but the feeling was there that it could have happened. Okay. So I know a lot of people were upset that Gunther didn't just take the title. But just when you think the crowd is biased, Cody comes out. They go nuts for him. They're singing his song, the lyrics as clean as I have ever heard it. Okay. So there you go. Like, it wasn't just one-sided. The fans clearly still back Cody. And this is why I was like, I just don't see Cody dropping the title. He still is QB1. All right. He is a great storyteller in the ring. And while this match did not tell an epic story, it told the story that needed to be told for what they were trying to do. He is the champ. He's the WWE champ. He's going to be the champ until he either. I just think he's going to drop. The right choice is to drop it to Gunther. But we'll go on in that with that a little bit later. He comes out with the skull mask. He has on his ring attire on the back of his jacket the green, white, and red colors, Italian colors showing tribute to where they are. Cody's shaking hands with fans. He shakes hands even with the Italian commentating team and Cole and Graves. It's a big match feel. So they lock up after all the announcing and introductions. They finally lock up as to be expected. I tell you, I started typing out the notes to this match even before it started happening. It would start with a slow technical pace, all right? And you see a waist-to-arm lock, caught to the ropes, breaks the hold. Cody does a cartwheel after breaking the hold. A bit of test of strength. Gunther naturally remains dominant, takes Cody to the corner. Then a big chop to Cody, the second one even worse. And then they start to speed up as Cody gets caught with a chop while attempting the cutter. It looked like he was going for a neck breaker, but Gunther, again, just strikes Cody with another chop. Really taking over, sends Cody to the corner, whips him again. Cody trying to gain control, but he gets caught with a big boot kick. Gunther takes the arm. Cody tries to punch out of it, but Gunther again sends him down. I mean, he's just clearly dominator. At one point, though, Cody hits a power slam, Randy Orton style. And I'm thinking, okay, is Randy Orton going to make an appearance at some point? Maybe start the feud back. Not that it needs to happen, and I'm glad that nothing happened. I'm so glad that that it didn't go any further with that. You see the bionic elbow and a pedigree, and the first pin attempt. Cody goes to the top rope. He misses whatever he was trying to do, rolls through, gets caught with a kick and a massive power bomb by Gunther, and then a pin attempt. Cody back up, hits the disaster kick, then the crossroads, near fall, both slow to get to their feet. Cody goes for a cutter, gets caught in the sleeper, slips out, but then Gunther relentless applies the sleeper, this time locking it in and brings Cody to the mat. Rhodes, after some time, gets to his feet, carries Gunther on his back, slams Gunther to the mat, breaks the hold, but Cody gets caught in the sleeper again. At this point, I'm still like, wow, this is it. I'm still on the fence about what's going to happen at this point. Cody, he gets his foot on the rope, for the break. Now Gunther kicks Cody's head, more of an insult than anything else, just taunting him. Cody, who then strikes back. They exchange clotheslines until Gunther sends him down with a massive clothesline. And Cody reverses a sleeper, then hits the cutter, a clothesline, calls for the crossroads, and what looks like a screwy finish. Okay, so apparently Gunther had his foot underneath the rope around the time the pin count was even starting. Okay, and that's where they're going with the story. This is the setup, okay, for a match either at Night of Champions or SummerSlam. I'm hoping for SummerSlam. I know that the intentions are to put Cody and Punk in the ring after the night after WrestleMania, but there's no guarantees that's even going to happen. I'm really on the feeling that they're going to put Cody versus Gunther, SummerSlam. Maybe they bring back CM Punk and hint at a match between Cody and Punk, but Gunther just attacks CM Punk and sends him home on the injury list. Okay, give CM Punk a little more, time with AJ. Do a little more, vacationing. He's earned it. I honestly don't know if we need Punk right now in a program for with Cody Rhodes. I don't think it's necessary. It's only it was really only over about 11 minutes, this match, and it should have gone at least 5 to 8 minutes longer. Even if while I get what they're trying to do, they could have taken this a little bit longer. And I know both of these two wrestlers are so good at what they do. Cody being the excellent storyteller in the ring, Gunther being the general the technician, and everything was very engaging. The whole match was engaging. There were no significant spots other than the finish. And I'm gonna just put it out there that Gunther's taking the title at SummerSlam, and that's where I'm going with. I know that's not necessarily the most popular decision or the decision that everybody thinks it's going, but that's where I want it to go, and I think that's the logical choice. So, and that's that. Moving on to the second match. WWE's Championship, Rhea Ripley versus Jade Cargill. Jade and Rhea, they both look excellent, with their ring attire, their entrances. And I know that's not, for the fans that want to see wrestling and want to see good wrestling, I know that doesn't really appeal to them, but it appeals to the mainstream audience. It appeals to even me. I don't care. You need to look good in the ring. You don't have to be jacked like Jade Cargill, although that is a plus. Rhea, honestly, she's toned down a little bit. Still looks great, but both these two look like champions, all right? And no one can tell me that Jade doesn't look like a champ. And after her performance at WrestleMania, you may be even less persuasive when arguing that she can't work like a champ. And as far as I'm concerned, she worked pretty well with Rhea Ripley on this one, okay? Minus a few botches here and there. All right, let's get into this one. Collar and elbow tie up to start. And then we get that banner, that ESPN banner saying that they're gonna host the show later at like around 3 p.m. or whatever, that was US time. And I was like, okay, so that's when they're gonna do Femi and Lesnar. And you get the big power slam by Cargill. Push-ups to taunt. Gets slapped by Rhea. We see the taunting. She's demonstrating she's the powerhouse in this match. Jade lifts Rhea, slams her on the ring apron, edge of the ring. That was an excellent spot. Then a vicious knee to Rhea after Jade tosses her against the ropes. All this on the outside. You get a fallaway slam onto the floor. And then finally back in the ring, Jade continues her dominance, all right? And she really is dominating. She whips Rhea to the corner and Rhea hits the mat. No sign of Rhea fighting back after a suplex, a pin attempt, kick to the gut, big uppercut, and then a kick and chops by Rhea, finally starting to show signs of fighting back. Jade with another whip to the corner, then more strikes, another suplex. Into the headlock goes Jade. Rhea tries for body shots, right? She gets slammed right back to the mat. And pure dominance, says Graves. Okay? And I agree with him. All right? Body slam, but then Jade misses an elbow. Okay? She hits the post shoulder first, trying to attack Rhea. Rhea then hits some clotheslines. She's holding on to Jade's arm while doing that. Then you see this kind of like an inverted back suplex with basically a face plant. You get the drop kick by Rhea and a German suplex. All looked good. Rhea's now in the driver's seat. Jade goes outside. Rhea catches her with a somersault off the top. It looked pretty good. Then a missile drop kick from the top rope. This is after coming back in the ring. The drop kick. Big near fall by Rhea. Jade counters the razor's edge attempt from Rhea with a back body drop. See a big kick through though by Rhea, and both are down. You hear the awesome chants, right? And yeah, couldn't agree more. So they're both back up at the same time, exchanging strikes. A few dodges, ducks. The Shining Wizard by Rhea connects. And then like a running wizard, I guess you could say. It almost reminded me of the Kinshasa. Okay. Another big near fall. And then they get into this electric chair position. This was the moment. This was the best spot. Okay, I thought. They both go over the top rope. But Rhea holds on and slams Jade's face into the ring apron. All right, looks sick. And I thought that was going to be it. Once they went back in the ring, go back and see that spot if you haven't already. That was the spot of the match. A counter by Jade, then Rhea, and then another counter, just a sequence of counters to a DDT by Jade. And that looked good, okay? Michael Cole giving Jade her flowers, pointing out that she is definitely evolved, and I see it. We could talk about it a little more, but clearly it's a chemistry between her and Rhea. All right, so that's what we have here. Then we get Rhea dodging another attack. She gets caught with a blue thunder bomb. I would say it was more like a Michinoku driver at most. Jade goes up top, not sure why. Rhea pursues, attacks, turns this moment into a back suplex over the top, from the top rope. I guess you could call it a super back suplex, right? Another near fall. Then B-Fab Michin shows up, and you're going to see a big kick, big stomp from Rhea. Looked really good. And there's a counter by Rhea Ripley into a riptide. And you see B-Fab helping Jade with the foot on the rope. Now I know it didn't look great, is what a lot of people are saying. Refs fighting with the two women outside to tell them to get out of this ring area. Charlotte Flair shows up, attacks the two. Jade hits her. Meanwhile, in the ring, Jade hits her finisher. But now Charlotte aids Rhea Ripley getting her foot on the rope. Okay, turnaround is fair play. Rhea gets the riptide and eventually the victory. This one goes about 17 minutes. Just enough time to get everything they needed out of this match. I love the spots outside of the ring. The electric chair spot, like I said, was my favorite. Go back and watch it. And I love the way Charlotte Flair is evolving as a face. Okay, she's doing like sneaky moves, much like her father would do, but for the with the intent of good, right? Like for the sake of good, for the sake of things like turnaround is fair play. It's a good thing. So I really like this Charlotte Flair that we're getting right now. And I really like what I'm seeing from Jade Cargill. She needs a good dance partner, okay? That's what we know so far. If she has a good dance partner, she can deliver in the ring. So will we see another match with Rhea? I have no doubt. I don't think it's coming up necessarily anytime soon. They could very well go a trifecta, but I know that, throughout her career, she's going to have more encounters with Rhea Ripley. Okay? And she definitely needs more experience like this to build herself up, to build her confidence. And yeah, that's that. So moving forward, third match, Brock Lesnar versus Oba Femi. All right. Now Brock comes out first, and the crowd is chanting the notes to his song, just like I do whenever I try to hype myself up. It's like bump, 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 bump. Now, except they were doing it more like this. Oh, bump, 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 bump. They're like, oh, 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 oh. All right, yeah, more like again. I mean, I got more of a bass, for that particular song. Yes. Anywho, Oba comes out to the Oba chants. All right, just as much engagement from the audience. And they both get in the ring. Alicia Taylor, she's on the mic. She's about to do the introductions like this is a title fight. But really what we want to see is the Heyman, kind of reaching out, taking the mic ever so slightly, gently, and introduces Lesnar with a little Italian. I would imagine he's referring to Brock as the Beast or the Conqueror in Italian. Very nice. Well delivered. And right off the bat, attack to the corner, then an F5 is Brock. 2 more F5s. Another one. Pin attempt. Only 2. Brock, a little perplexed. Okay, he's a little concerned, but applies the Kimura lock. We hadn't seen that in a while on Oba, who tries to take the high ground to release some of the pressure. Brock stays on the lock. Oba lifts Lesnar and then slams Brock to break the hold. Brock back up with the arm, the Kimura lock. Femi slams Brock against the corner 3 times, then goes for a choke. After breaking the hold, Brock counters to another F5 and just another near fall. F5 counter to a choke slam by Femi and a near fall. Femi clotheslines Brock out of the ring. I like this. I like where it's going. Rips apart the Italian announce table. Lesnar attacks the arm but gets slammed to the post on the outside. Brock counters the choke slam and F5s Femi into the table. Back in the ring, Brock is raising his hands like he won. The ref counts and at about 5 runs back in, holding his arm. At that point, I was like, okay, that was a little. I get that he's trying to, showcase his, ability to withstand Lesnar's attacks. But the no selling was a little much on that one, okay? We're getting a little bit into Super Cena Goldberg mode, you know? Maybe they could work on that a little bit. Yeah. Where was I? The uppercuts, he hits the uppercuts to Brock in the corner, lifts Brock up, slams him. Fall from grace, countered into an F5. A 7th F5, by the way, for the victory. This match was fun. Definitely, like I said, better than the first match between the two at WrestleMania. This match went 6 minutes and 21 seconds. A little more than the standard Brock Lesnar match, but we got what we expected in terms of length. But a few good spots that I appreciate what they did. And I'm looking forward to the third match. On the way out of the ring, Brock tells Oba, 1 + 1, bitch. So, yeah. We could talk a little bit about the King of the Ring tournament and whatever how it's going to be leading up to Night of Champions. I don't know all the details on it, but I do know that Oba Femi is in the tournament. And I do believe that Brock Lesnar will get involved. And that will only develop more build for the last match between the two. So this was great, short and sweet. Then we get a little break with Santino Marella in the crowd. I like that. We'll never forget his WrestleMania quote. He was always very entertaining, for those of you that don't know. We get this promo package of the Grande Americano feud and the match. I loved it. I loved this package with the comic strip theme. Whoever edited this promo package did an excellent job. Okay, go back and watch it if you haven't. Really hyped up the match. I have not seen it yet. They really showcase what they did, the right spots. Dave Meltzer said that if you hadn't watched this match, you need to drop what you are doing and go and watch this match. Hey, I think I'm starting to, after watching the promo package, I think he might be right. A lot of great things are going on in AAA. And while I haven't, watched much of it, I can see through the promos that they are giving you a wild feel. Okay, the kind of feel that we got when watching promotions like, NXT Black and Gold, Lucha Underground, ECW even. It gives off that feel where there's just a certain type of energy, and that the wrestlers in the promotion they're being promoted really well. Okay, through little video packages. I am gonna start to participate, dabble with AAA. So I think I need to do that. I know I'm late to the game, but, at some point you gotta have to check it out. Then we get to the fourth match. Becky Lynch versus Sol Ruca. And I gotta say off the top, this match went 14 minutes. It was so fast paced though. So much going on with Sol Ruca. She does so much. And it is impressive. Finally, I think Michael Cole, dropped a remark comparing Sol Ruca to Lita. And she really is. She really is like the second coming of Lita. She reminds me so much of her in her moves and her skill set and her presentation, her attire. She really could have been, a heavy hitter in the women's division during the Attitude or Ruthless Aggression era. She really is, that kind of performer. But yeah, we go to start things off. I do love Becky's entrance with the steam coming out. That just kind of reminded me. It always reminds me of her old school entrance with her old school entrance theme. And the new song's actually starting to rub off on me. I kind of appreciate it. Kind of gives me the heel vibe, but also kind of gives me that established I'm a champ vibe. And Becky is still excellent at what she does. She really is arguably the best women's wrestler that WWE had to offer. The first WWE women's woman's main event at WrestleMania. She's the first to ever win a women's WrestleMania main event. You know, that's nobody else can say that. So they're both in the ring. Bell rings, and Becky quickly goes for a cheap shot, but Soul dodges. We get a face plant by Ruca to start this one off. Hip attack, standing moonsault, pin attempt. Soul Ruca in control. There's telling signs that Becky will take over eventually, and she might even like escape with the title. But at this point, but then we get a big moonsault off the top to the floor by Ruca. Back in the ring, she does get caught by Lynch, who then proceeds to attack with strikes. She takes this match outside, slams Ruca to the dividing barricade. She goes up to the top and measures for the leg drop, delivers with a near fall. Cole mentions Jessica Carr, and it's that she's talking about how Jessica Carr's doing a great job as a ref. It's at that point that I understand where this is all going and where Becky Lynch is going after this match. And now I'm starting to understand why it's okay that Becky loses the title, because we know where she's going next. Okay, she's going to get into a program with Carr, and we'll talk about that more at the end of this match. Strikes exchange, just a fast-paced sequence is how I can describe it, leading to a German suplex by Ruca. You get the missile drop kick, near fall. Becky rolls out of the ring. A soul snatcher attempt countered into an armbar by Becky Lynch. I like that. And then countered by Ruca into an STF. Very well applied. Kick by Ruca. Becky hits the manhandle slam, countered though by Ruca. At this point, there is some issue between Carr and Lynch. Okay, something about the pin attempt by Lynch. And again, I'm seeing where this is going. Then somehow catches Becky with the soul snatcher for the pin after a manhandle slam in the corner. It did not look that great. It looked like Becky Lynch was waiting for it, and I can't stand that. That's something about Sol Ruca's finisher. It looks excellent when it's out of nowhere and it's done right, but if you can't deliver it where the person taking the finish isn't just looking looking up oh, what am I gonna do? Just walk out the way. All right. It didn't look right. The match overall was fun. It was great. All over the place. And for 14 minutes, didn't really feel like that. Felt more like maybe 10. And that was that. I know that I want to say Monday Night Raw, we'll see some sort of moment where Becky Lynch just calls out Jessica Carr and says, "Enough's enough. I've had it with you. I want to see you fired. Let's get this. Let's get it going." Anyways, and Jessica Carr, she'll attack Becky and maybe punch back. This will set up a program between the two. Okay, because I know Jessica Carr has a wrestling background, and that is that. So probably my least favorite match was that match. And it's not necessarily because they didn't do much. It's just because at that point I was like, okay, it is getting late where I'm at. I had a long day. I did a lot this past weekend, and was just like, all right, I'm ready for this main event. All right. And this one went about, I have a lot of notes for this one. Went just over 27 minutes. All right. Big match, main event feel. This was excellent. All right. This really delivered. Okay. And while I was like, come on, I'm like ready for this night to end, I was impressed. Okay. They lock. So when they come out, I even think there might have even been some humming of Roman Reigns song. Don't worry, I'm not gonna do anything there. But I did notice that Jacob Fatu, he was wearing his attire, the Samoan cultural design. It's kind of a wrap around his waist. The first match they had, it was blue. And I like to pay attention to stuff like this. Tonight or last night, it was red, which indicates that there will be blood. I'm surprised that there was no blood during this match. I mean, they probably have, they're both like just hard hitters, Samoans. They can take a lot of punishment in the ring. I love that there was a few mentions by the commentating team to Haku. If you don't know the history, go back and listen to Bobby the Brain Heenan and maybe, any other people that were involved during that time period that Haku was a performer. He really is probably the most dangerous man wrestler there ever was. Go back and listen to some of the stories. And of course, this connects to the tongue-in death grip that was applied several times. We'll get into that. So it's slow to start. All right, they lock up and let go. They really feel this out, and that's great. But after everything we've already seen, it's like I said, a little kind of the crowd. I don't want to say it was dead, but you could just tell it was a little bit more tired. But they were involved. They were engaged, and anytime these two gave him a good spot, there was a lot of response. There was a lot of cheering for Fatu, for Reigns. It was excellent. I can't stress enough how great the crowd was. They run the ropes and get a clothesline by Roman. Reigns slams Fatu's head into the posts, then onto the first one again, then the spinning elbow, tongue-in death grip, almost applied. Reigns on the outside. You see a suicide dive by Fatu. They take it outside, over the barricade. They fight among the fans. Fatu gets a drink of water and then gets caught by a strike from Reigns. They go up a set of stairs. They fight on the rail of the stairs. Multiple counters outside leading to Jacob, slamming Reigns into some structure. They continue to fight outside. And at this point, I want this match to get back in the ring. I wasn't impressed during the Attitude Era when they took things on the outside. Unless something big happened, a big spot, I couldn't stand it. I was like, just get back in the ring. Get back to the ring area. So as much of the crowd seems to be more or less more into this, okay, I wanted them back in. And finally, back in the ring, Reigns slams Fatu into the steel post, the ring area at least. Fatu breaks out the table from under the ring. Reigns strikes, however, and takes a hold of the table. He's smiling, not sure where he's going to go with this, but Fatu gets a hold of him and slams him into the steps. In the ring, Roman drops the steps. This is one of the best spots. He has the ring steps, the metal ring steps in the ring. Fatu's on the outside. He drops the steps onto Fatu's head. And I'm like, holy crap. At that point, I'm like, okay, this match is now picking up. Okay, this is where I want to see it. It's a great spot. I think I just bopped my head. I'm getting a little dizzy. Reigns, okay, he hits the drive-by. Now he's outside. He hits Fatu on the drive-by. Connecting with Fatu, who then slams back into the corner post. Another great spot, okay? Both back in the ring. Two clotheslines by Roman into a corner. Roman is striking Fatu 10 times over. Big kick from Reigns. He goes for the Superman punch, but Fatu counters with strikes. Then a clothesline after shaking off a kick. Splash in the corner and headbutts. And I think about 9. And then the running hip attack. Same vein as Umaga. Superman punch out of nowhere by Reigns. Near fall by Roman. Reigns sets up for the spear, runs into a super kick by Fatu, and then the tongue-in death grip applied. Reigns starts to fade, but Roman fights back. Fatu runs Reigns out of the ring with the tongue and death grip. That was cool. But then gets caught by a Superman punch from the outside through the ropes. Again, looked cool. Fatu and Roman both on the outside floor. Reigns takes out a toolbox from under the ring, slams it on Fatu's hand over the announce table. Great spot. Okay. He says you ain't going to do shit with that hand now. Okay. This is fun. Cracked me up a little bit. Another shot to the hand over the steps this time, right? Back in the ring. He continues to attack Fatu's hand. Reigns sets the table, okay, introduced by Fatu on the corner of the ring. He sets up for a spear, but Fatu attacks with a splash, sends him to a corner for a hip attack. Reigns rolls outside. Fatu pursues, but gets caught with a Superman punch. You hear the OTC chants. Crowd is very much into this. Reigns spears Fatu through the barricade, brings Fatu back in the ring, hits a spear, another near fall. The table, though, is still set up. So this match, as far as I'm concerned, does not end until that table breaks, much like a detective novel. If a gun comes in to the equation, it's going to be used by the end of the novel, the story. Reigns says, I do this because I love you guys. I guess he's referring to anyone who's ever had to, fight him in combat, in tribal combat, playing the tough love role. Very dramatic. He exposes the corner buckle pads. All right. This is great. Exposes 3 of them off, all 3 buckle pads except for the one that's being covered by the table. I think he might have even exposed a middle buckle pad. All right. I like where this is going. And however, Fatu, you get the Superman punch, all right, by Reigns. It doesn't take Fatu down. A spear by Fatu out of nowhere, despite being slammed head first into the exposed buckles. You get a moonsault by Fatu, sorely missed. Okay, he just lands flat on his face and stomach. He has no problem. All right, taking that fall. Does Fatu. Then you get a Samoan drop attempt. You get a spear attempt by Reigns, and it's countered into a Samoan drop. Okay, delivered. Then the moonsault. All right, they exchange strikes. This time, by the way, Fatu connects. They exchange strikes on their way up to their feet. Tongue and death grip applied again. Looks like the toolbox didn't stop Fatu. They exchange. Reigns though slams Fatu into the exposed turnbuckle. Okay, like multiple times. All right, this is brutal. Never seen it like this before, at least in a WWE program. Then spears Fatu in through the table. One more spear, all right, by Reigns. He hits both ropes and just bam, hits him with the spear hard. And it's over. 1, 2, 3. Like I said, this match went over 27 minutes. It was slow to start, but it delivered, okay? And the ending, this is great. Fatu's like sitting in the corner. He's got this look on his face like, yeah, you got me. Like almost like, like a wounded dog who knows he's been beat, all right? And a look of respect to Reigns. Reigns is just, grinning. He's like, yeah, I'm the man now, all right? There's nothing nothing else to say. You now fall in line, basically. The Usos run in. They fall in line. They show respect to their tribal chief. Basically, like, it's time to get your ass back in line, Jacob. Just excellent. On their way out. Beyond the barricade, you see Solo and company Tamatanga and Talatanga, a.k.a. Hikuleo, looking at Fatu like, man, with a little bit of pity. And Reigns looks at Solo and is like, yeah, I'm going to handle that next. That's next. I'm very much looking forward. A lot of people might be saying, oh, man, here we go again with the bloodline. No, this is entertaining. Reigns has never looked better as far as I'm concerned. Okay, he looks like $1,000,000. All right, he has basically shown that when push comes to shove and it's no holds barred, yeah, you can't beat me. I don't give a damn who you are. Meanwhile, Jacob shows that this guy can take a lot of punishment and dish out a lot as well. I told you, he is not quite ready for the title, a world title. It's just not in the cards just yet. But he has shown that he is a special attraction like no other. All right. And anytime he is a superstar, anytime this man is in the ring, anytime he's on the mic, I want to watch him. All right. And that's the way it goes. When you put on a match like this, all right, and you put on a build like you've been putting on, you establish yourself as must-see TV. And that's the way I see Jacob Fatu. All right? It's the way I see Roman Reigns. And I definitely want to see what happens between him and Solo. I think Solo needs to get in line. What I need to see is Tama Tonga go, you know what? I was never in your bloodline, and I'm not in your bloodline. And as far as I'm concerned, this is the real tribe. You may be the tribal chief of your bloodline, but, this is my bloodline. And then maybe brings back Tongaloa and reissues the Gorillas of Destiny. And bring back that music, that awesome music, okay? If you don't know about the Gorillas of Destiny, go and watch the Gorillas of Destiny on New Japan. Check out their theme music. And like I've said in the past, ain't nobody realer than Gorilla. Ain't nobody realer than the Gorilla. Guys, it's been great. I will watch Monday Night Raw. And we will definitely do a review. I know this video is not going to come out, so great. But it's been fun. As far as like what was covered has been great. And I, want to make sure that I get better and better. And I want to do a live stream more and more with reviews like this. I know that's kind of what's expected, what's demanded. But yeah, we'll move forward. I hope you guys have enjoyed your weekend and you have a great week. Enjoy Monday Night Raw. It's going to be in Turin again. It's going to be in Italy again tonight. Then we have SmackDown. So we have a lot to cover. It's an exciting time. And I think I am going to do a Raw review. It's not easy. I have a lot of respect for the podcasters, the YouTubers who review Raw and SmackDown because there's just a lot to criticize. And I have a hard time even watching all of it. But I think the time has come to just start doing reviews. I've done Raw reviews before, like, special occasions like night after WrestleMania. But seeing as how it's going to be on my time, I can watch it and then maybe do a review the next morning, so you guys can watch it, a review on your way to work, maybe throughout the day, and enjoy that. So again, it's been great. I'll see you all later. If you haven't done so already, hit that like and subscribe button. Join us on Instagram, on Twitter, @Channel Cortez 33. You guys have a good one. I'll see you all later. And take care.